Hey, welcome to another episode of Three Conservative Gimps, where we give you the poop on what's going on in the conservative world here, not only national, international, and local. So we keep you up to date. First off, our prayers go out to those folks who perished in the plane crash that happened, I guess, last night in Washington, D.C., where a jet airliner collided with a Black Hawk helicopter. Prayers go out to those folks, and God bless you guys. Let's get this show going. Let's welcome. He's got no MO because he's okay. So let's welcome Lloyd Mendenhall.
How do, Art? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Just a little tired, working all day. Got to pay the bills and all that neat stuff.
Right.
So how are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, I can't complain. And I was talking to you a little bit before the show, but yesterday I had a doctor's appointment. But what I didn't talk about was I've had that same doctor for 41 years.
Wow.
And he is retiring in 5 weeks. So this was my last time to see him. And
wow.
It was, he was Judy's doctor before he was mine. So she'd been going to him since for almost 43 years.
Wow.
42 years at least. And it's like since he started practicing here in Muskogee, now he's in Tulsa. But, it was bittersweet. Two old guys hugging it out there in the hallway. And we were both like, he says, man, this sucks. I said, yeah, but, you deserve the break. He's gone through quite a bit. So,
yeah.
But other than that, we've had drizzly weather. We had rain and thunder last night and, but it's been in the 50s. I got 3 of my cameras put up plus my doorbell. So I'm, got that all taken care of. So yeah, everything else is good.
Cool.
Cool. I got to go for a teeth cleaning tomorrow, but
well, it's been nice here. We just missed a snowstorm that stayed to the south of Denver, and out east they got some snow and we didn't, and it was nice weather. It was above 32 degrees this morning, so it was nice outside. No frost to scrape, and we may get up to almost 70 by the weekend.
Yeah, we're looking at the same thing here. So
let's welcome our other colleague all the way from the blue state of New York. It is Charles Galusky. If I get there, there we go.
Hey, Art. Hey, Lloyd. Hey, everybody in the chat.
Hey, Charles. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Can't complain.
Yeah.
Nobody listens anyways.
And how's the weather in your neck of the woods?
Well, we're kind of been up and down. Yesterday we were 38. Today we were below freezing. Tomorrow we're supposed to be up well above freezing again. And then over the weekend we're going to go down again. And then Monday we're supposed to be in the mid 40s. We're in this.
Wow.
That usually
Weird.
happens around here before the what we'll call the thematic change of season, because I mean, technically speaking, spring always starts 6 weeks after Groundhog Day. No matter
Right.
what, that's the date. That's why it's
Mhm.
such a big joke. But if this sort of up and down stuff kind of keeps happening, who knows?
Mhm.
By the end of February, we could be into full spring.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be. Could be. So yeah, like I said, our hearts go out to those folks that perished in that awful plane crash. I watched a video just before the show talking about how it all came down, and it turns out the Black Hawk helicopter pilot mistook another plane from the plane that it collided with.
Yeah,
Because,
that's the assumption. There's still a lot of they haven't got the black boxes yet, but uh, there's still the Black Hawk hit the CJ aircraft,
yeah, right.
and he was asked, "Do you see that plane?" There's
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to was it pilot error? What was it? Right now they're looking at uh, possibly uh, due to air traffic controllers because they had one guy doing two jobs, and
Wow.
he was directing both the helicopter, which are on one channel, and the uh, fixed wings, which are on another channel.
Right.
And they're easily, you know, uh, one of the, it's going to come down to probably pilot error, but it's also going to come down to misdirection maybe by the air traffic controller.
Yeah. That's a possibility.
Or really, it's going to come down to lack of personnel in
Mm-hmm.
train. That's really what they're looking at right now. Is
Oh, I wonder who's going to get the blame for that. Hmm.
yeah,
The lefties are already trying to blame Trump.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
And Trump had a news conference today in which he said, "We're going to find out if this person was hired by DEI, under
Right.
DEI." So
Mm-hmm.
it's not over by a long shot. But
Right.
yeah,
And from what I understand, that area there has a lot of aircraft traffic.
they
Yeah.
do, and it's been increasing. And again,
Mm-hmm.
it's understaffed. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, I don't think we'll know the whole story for at least another. We'll get some preliminaries out once they find the black boxes. That's going to be the biggest thing. They had
Right. Mm-hmm.
as of this evening. I think they hadn't found it yet at 5 o'clock when I was sitting in a restaurant eating. So
Mm-hmm.
5 Eastern, so it'd be 4 o'clock five Central, 4 o'clock your time. So,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
they're still working on that. But there's like 60, was it 67? I think died.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
Yeah, total.
total 67. There's
Yeah.
the three in the Black Hawk. You know, there's been talk, that maybe they were using night vision goggles. They were supposed to be on. Some say, well, they were on a night vision training mission, but that didn't mean they were using the goggles at that point because using those infrared goggles with all those lights around there would have just, would have blown out where they couldn't see.
Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
so
And passengers on the jet were from the Olympic skating team.
yes, yeah, they were
Yeah.
16 of them, 16 members of the
Yeah.
Olympic skating team, figure skating team.
And
Well,
one of them didn't go on that flight because of his dog. So he missed that flight.
there's actually there's actually two.
Oh.
The son of the two coaches were husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
Well, their son had gone out. He'd participated in the. He's 20, and he participated in a men's competition there, but he didn't stay for the the work camp or whatever they called it,
Right.
Skating camp. He didn't stay for that, so he went home on Sunday, and yesterday was going there to waiting to pick up his parents because they were coming back, and
Mm-hmm.
the plane crashed. So he lost his mom and dad, and there was
Mm-hmm.
another coach there as well. There's a third coach. So
Right.
yeah, it's pretty tragic. So for the families.
Yeah, sad. You'd think with technology that
Yeah.
we could avoid.
Well, that's exactly what Brian put up there in the chat too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were flying completely by instrumentation, yes, you'd think that would happen. But pilots do have to be trained to fly without the instrumentation, because
Yes.
if their instrumentation goes bad, or if they're out of radio contact, especially with the military, because you could be put on a mission of radio silence, you would have to know how to fly completely by yourself.
Right. And the
Right.
thing is the first ticket or first license that all pilots get is the VFR, which is visual flight rating.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have to go back and learn and do all of their doing everything all over again to learn instrument flight rating. So,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
so they should instinctively know how to fly without instrumentation, and I think it's like you said, Art. I think it probably, because when you see that other plane taken off, at first you think, well, that was, and then you see the explosion after that one's taken off. You see you see these two other aircraft in the background, and the explosion is like, oh, well, I could see why,
Mm-hmm.
could have confused that. So
Mm-hmm.
night flying is hazardous at best.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
got its and the fact that there was so much congestion there, because they were really pushing them in and out of those
Yeah.
runways there. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
because they had three in a short proximity of each other that were in the air. You had the one taken off that succeeded, the one that was landing that crashed, and the helo that also crashed. So
Right.
all in within a small airspace, and they're not supposed to stack them that deep.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we'll wait and see.
Yep. Yep. We shall see. Also, the deportations have begun,
Yes, they
and
have.
and we're using military cargo planes to round up all these folks, and
Yep.
and it's not like they're packing them in with t-shirts. They take care of these people. They make sure they've got adequate clothing, and so they're not going to get really, really cold, even though those big cavernous planes can tend to be cold because they're flying at 30 plus thousand feet, and so they're starting to take them back to their home countries, and
Right.
one of them was Colombia, where first the president of Colombia denied access, and then Trump came in and said, "Oh, okay, well, you won't let us land. We'll just jack up the tariffs 25%," and that really changed their tune on that.
Yeah,
So
because not only did he threaten to put it at 25, but the continuation of refusing the flights, it would have been to 50, and then
right,
so
right.
yeah, he and from what I heard today, he's fixing to slap both Canada and Mexico with a 25% tariff.
Wow, interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. And so that was like one of the first flights in. So I imagine there's going to be several more flights happening.
Oh,
And then,
yeah, they're gathering up, several thousands.
right,
You know, they've I can't remember how many thousands they've gotten so far, but
right.
the other thing to that is the fact that the traffic coming across the border is only like a couple hundred, a couple hundred encounters a day now,
Wow.
instead of
Well, that's
5 and 10,000 a day. Now it's
it's
yeah,
down to a trickle.
it's down to a real small trickle. So yeah,
Yeah, that's good. And it's not like they're just going through neighborhoods and rounding up any illegals. No, they're going after the criminals. You know, the rapists, the murderers, and
right.
anybody with a violent criminal record. Those are the ones that are being deported first.
Well, those are the ones they're going after. But
Right.
this is what they said. This is what he, the border czar gave right off the top. He says, if they're in a sanctuary city and they're hiding out with others who are here illegally, we will pick those up too. And
Mhm.
they actually picked up a mother and a child and grandma. Uh,
Well,
but and they were American citizens, but they were speaking Spanish. They were in with these people, and but they were U.S. citizens. So and it's real simple. If you're in with all that, you're living in that area with all those people, and you look native to the country they might be from, well, of course you're going to have to show proof of citizenship, and
right.
and they did, and they were let go. It's not the
Mhm.
perfect thing.
Mhm.
There's going to be mistakes. You know, uh,
Right.
it's not a perfect setup, but they corrected that very quickly, and
Right.
you know, but it's if you're hiding illegals, well, and or let's say these rapists, and and sometimes you can't help it because they come into your apartment buildings, and it's either
Right.
you play the game or you get killed,
Right.
but
Right.
they've tried, and like they said, had these cities bothered to pick these guys up and hold them in jail, they
Right.
wouldn't be going house to house. They'd be going to the jail, picking them up and transporting them.
Right.
Easy peasy.
That's
But they're all bitching because of the fact that, oh, not all of these are rapists and murderers, but they're still here illegally, so they have broken the law. And a
mhm.
lot of them have had, like there was one that had a deportation, had been here 6 times,
Mm.
deported and come back in. It's like,
Mm.
keep telling you not to come, and you keep doing it. So, well, guess what? This
Mhm.
time you're going, and
Right.
you're getting arrested first. And
Yep.
so there are those that that are not necessarily rapists and murderers,
Mm.
but they just happen to be in the same, like they keep saying, if the cities had bothered to pick these people up
Right.
or retain them in the jails,
Mhm.
then ICE would go to the jails to pick them up. Just that simple. So now
Mhm.
they've got all these illegals that they've been protecting that are now being arrested too, because you let the bad guys out and they're living in with the not so bad guys,
Mhm.
and they're all going to get picked up. So
Right.
yeah.
Here in Denver, they just had a raid at a party where there were known Tren de Aragua
Oh yeah.
gang
Yeah.
members that they rounded up a whole bunch of them. And what was funny is they blasted, hey, we got a party, we're having a party on Facebook and all the social media.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the cops found out about it.
Yeah.
And they went there and what
Because
happens when they break in the door? Everybody, they take all their drugs and all their weapons and they just throw them out in the middle of the room. That
yeah.
way they can't say, not mine, not
Yeah.
mine. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That way they can't get busted with a weapon or some illegal drugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
so
well,
they
and
rounded.
it's The problem is the city of Denver or whichever
Right.
municipality it's in has said, we don't care whether you're here or not. We're giving you sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Brian, that's another point.
Oh, getting Guantanamo ready.
Oh yeah, that's where he's planning on it. For those that he can't get out right away, they will be held at Guantanamo.
Uh-huh.
And he's going back. They're going back in and opening up the. They say, well, you only had room for like 800 terrorists. No, they had room for about 20,000 people. But that part of the base had been shut down because it wasn't used as much. So
Right.
now they're getting ready to open that up, and that's where they're going to house them at for. So
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, he said that, I think it came out yesterday, but he talked about it in his one of many news conferences that he's had this last week.
Wow.
He did another news conference today, and it's quite interesting,
And have you noticed how quiet everything's? No big mass demonstrations, nobody blocking the freeways, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's beginning to feel like a normal,
Exactly, Don.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, they're even talking they've got a golf course there that these people will
Okay.
be able to, have access to. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
really? A tropical golf course, or
Nice.
Caribbean golf course, like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real simple. What they do is they leave, and they could build a gate on the backside of Guantanamo that opens up into the communist Cuba, and just let them go out that way.
There you go.
And let
There
them
you
take
go.
care of them.
Yep. But the problem is, then Cuba might send them back here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what's going on. We've got Senate hearings, confirmation hearings, and a lot of fireworks over, some fireworks over RFK Jr.
Oh, there's been fireworks over him. There's fireworks over what is it, Pash Patel, or however you say his name is.
Cash Patel.
Cash Patel.
Cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the P and the C mixed up, but anyways, yeah, he's been. The problem is who is the senator?
Well, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, he's a Democrat. He's one of the leading Democratic senators. It's
Chuck Schumer.
Chuck Schumer. Yeah, I think it was Schumer.
Yeah.
Or no, it was the one that was a congressman and is now a senator.
Schiff.
Yeah, I think it was
Adam
Jeff, or it might one of those two.
One of those
two had been investigating Cash Patel, and they had brought him up on. But now all of a sudden, the shoe's on the other foot, because if he gets into office, or if he gets the nomination, he wins it.
Mm-hmm.
He could be looking into, because it was one of those situations where they weaponized the legal system.
Right.
Yeah, Kennedy's been his expression never changes. He's just
right.
He's been very but and they're trying to I was laughing today because I listened to the 5. I still have not. I've heard the clip, but I haven't seen the clip about Bernie Sanders and onesies. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if he was wearing onesies at the Senate hearing or what. But he's are you going to outlaw these onesies, or I don't know. I is asking Kennedy. Yeah. And they keep bringing it up, and I'm going to have to go back and listen to that, because anyway. But they keep, give me a yes or no answer. Yes or no. Well, it's not that simple, because the question you're asking is something that's either been taken out of context or I was laughing on the 5 today because the liberal on there, she was talking about uh, I don't know, I think the people that are being deported or something. She says, "Well, according to NBC," and I'm thinking, "Well, there's your problem. You work for Fox, but you
Yeah.
get your news from NBC,
Mhm.
and that's why you're a bleeding heart liberal and won't ever give it
Right.
up." You know,
Mm-hmm.
and
That'd be Jessica Tarlov.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, she kind of grates on me because she's more to the left, and where Harold Ford
yeah.
is very
Harold,
reasonable.
he
I
is, and
mean,
he gives some always gives some decent arguments, and he's never
right,
offensive in the way he when he does
right.
present his, even if you don't agree with it, he never
Mm-hmm.
does it in a way that's talking down to uh conservatives, you know.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
he's also smart enough to know that, hey, we did not have the best setup for our president for the last 4 years he's not been, he was, the lights were on but nobody was home,
Yep, that's
you know.
right. Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, but yeah, that gal today is like, and finally somebody, and this maybe, who knows, you might hear Robert Kennedy use it tomorrow, says, why don't you answer me yes or no? He says, well, why don't you give me a reasonable, why don't you ask me a reasonable or an intelligent question and I'll answer you.
You're right. Right.
If they would ask intelligent questions, I'm sure he'd be glad to answer them.
Right.
But, you know,
And with Pocahontas, I mean Elizabeth Warren, one of your neighbors there in Oklahoma. Anyway, she was
grew up here,
really
but we do not claim her. I think
okay.
she's been disowned by this state.
She was really going after him about vaccines and pharma,
Yeah, big
big
pharma.
pharma.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's taken a lot of money from big pharma in campaign contributions.
Oh yeah, yeah. It just amazes me the hypocrisy of the left because
Right.
they're talking about giving tax breaks to billionaires. That's what Trump's going to do is give, but yet they're millionaires themselves because they've taken all these campaign contributions.
Yeah.
They're just, as a matter of fact, they're more elitist than any of the you know uh, conservative millionaires. And
Right.
so yeah, it's like, yeah, it is.
And
It just cracks me up.
if they really believed in what they believed in, they could always give that money back to the government.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
could. Yeah, yeah.
it's just
Or they
not
voluntarily pay, higher taxes. But I'll bet you
right.
anything that any of those people up there, and liberals especially, they're getting their contributions for their campaign, and
Hmm.
I guarantee you they're growing rich. And yet, I bet their accountants are looking for every friggin' loophole they could find
Hmm.
to save them money to keep from having to pay higher taxes.
Right. Hmm.
I don't make enough money in a year to pay what Donald Trump pays in taxes.
Right. Right.
Yeah, he gets breaks, but if we're talking about one human one American citizen to another American citizen, Donald Trump is paying probably in taxes what the three of us make all together.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, just YouTube because I don't. I've
Well,
got
yeah,
buckets,
Yeah.
but he's
but yeah, I mean they pay more. They may pay a smaller percentage, or
percentage.
but they pay way more in actual real dollars.
Oh yeah, if they
Right.
sat down and they showed actually how much per capita each one of them, because one person to another, I guarantee you that Donald Trump pays a lot more than he actually cash money out, that's paid in.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than I make in a year.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
somehow because he's rich, he should pay a higher percentage, or he shouldn't be given. If he wasn't given some tax breaks, he would be, he'd have to file. He couldn't take and invest that money into a business which employs people.
Right. Hey, Ronnie.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie. Well, technically speaking, they do pay a higher percentage than us. It's just that it's capped at a certain actual what I like to use real dollar amount.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because I mean, when I was working, I figured it, I figured it out. It was like 28%,
Right.
and the rich do pay like, or they used to anyways, pay around 32%. Okay, not an awful lot more.
Right.
But 32% of a millionaire's income, like we've talked about, is way more in actual dollars than 28% of my income. And then
Yeah.
the worst thing about it is somewhere along the way, I have to think that the guy that was doing this was a Republican, and this is a while ago, said that people who get a refund, said that most Americans don't pay taxes because a lot of Americans get a refund, but you don't get every single penny back.
No, you don't.
You get like, again, just rough calculations. I would get back about a third of what I, paid in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of that there's no way you're going to get it back. Like the, is it FICO or is it FISA?
FICA.
All the
Yeah.
all the
Like
stuff you pay, all the stuff that you pay for Social Security and Medicaid and
Right.
Medicare,
Right. Yeah.
all that stuff. Until you actually cash in on that program, you're not getting squat back.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're not going
And
to
the
get all
stuff
that
you
money
do
back
get back,
anyways.
what? Beg pardon?
You probably won't get most of that back anyways, unless you live to be about 110.
Well, I don't know, and this is a discussion for another program. But
Right. Yeah.
but basically, people are, ever since the beginning, people have taken out more than what they put in. And
Yeah,
the
that's true.
biggest example of that is the very first person was some woman, I don't remember her name, who was the first person to receive Social Security benefits, put
Right.
in like $15 and took out, before she passed away, 26 grand.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's sadly that's the way it works.
Yeah.
And even though there does appear to be some evidence that our Social Security funds are being raided for other things, that one fact alone, that people are taking out more than what they put in, means that the Social Security system is sort of doomed from the start, so to speak.
Right.
Well,
It's
initially
not sustainable. Yeah, it's not sustainable. There we go. I'll use modern language. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also it was originally set up as a trust, which was,
Right.
every person for generations invest money and, into a trust system that is supposed to be drawing interest. But unfortunately, some of the, anytime you have a trust set up and you start drawing off the principal,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
well, you're going to run out, and that's what it's
Yeah.
come down to, because they've drawn off the principal not just to make payments to everybody, but had it been set up properly, it would have been sustainable, because just like somebody who wins the lottery, if they
Mm-hmm.
invest
Right.
that
Yeah.
money into a trust, they live off the interest, not off the principal.
Right.
And that's what's wrong with the current Social Security as it is, because they've invaded or raided the principal to pay
Mm-hmm.
for other things, and they're not investing it like they should. But going back to something Ronnie said earlier, said Trump, he says he prepays his taxes, and he wondered if that's possible. Yes, you can pay on projected earnings, and you
Uh-huh.
can pay in advance. A lot of business people do. James did, He always paid quarterly in advance, and that way, and then at the end of the year, if you've paid in advance, if you have a refund coming, you'll get it. But sometimes, and which is the case with businesses a lot, they have to pay in because they've earned a lot, and so they try to go by last year's earnings and last year's dividends, all that stuff, and then pay say 5% more by the quarter for the year, and by the end of the year, when it's time to do taxes on the beginning of the next year, they've got a better idea. And sometimes they get a refund, sometimes they have to pay in, but yes, you can prepay your income tax if you choose to.
Well, I think if you're running a business, you have to.
Yeah,
because I've been looking into starting up my own small business here to try and just make a few shekels on the side, in the hopes of growing something bigger. And what I was looking into how to pay the taxes, and I don't know if this is just New York State or everywhere, but New York, and this is this dumbest thing. You have to pay every quarter, but you don't claim your taxes until the end.
Right.
And it's like, well, if you're not filing taxes, how do you know how much to pay? I mean, what are you supposed to do? And then when you get to the end of the year, what if you have to owe even more than what you've already paid in? It's just like, please, but can you make it, you're talking about an individual here who wants to start a business and grow it from something.
Yeah.
You can't get into this multi-million-dollar sort of stuff when you're talking about, trying to make sure that you've made $100 by the end of the month.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can't you? Isn't there some kind of, gradation, where you can, maybe file taxes once a year until you're making, $50,000 a year or something like that. I mean, there isn't. I'm assuming that there isn't, but it's just like, and that's one of the other problems that I have with our government is that, like, for example, if I wanted to go on disability for my issues, I could, because what you need 2 doctors to say that this is an ongoing condition and you can't work. And I have more than 2 who will say that. Okay, so that's not really that is not an issue. But if I decided to do that, I can only make so much every month. If I make over that, then they'll go, oh, you made over that, so we're going to take this, you've made over that, so we're going to take away everything that you've made that month. So all of a sudden your income drops. I mean, Art's dealing with that right now.
Exactly.
This is so effing stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, if I made $100 more than what I'm supposed to, if they just said, well, okay, so we're going to underpay you by $100, that wouldn't be that devastating.
Right.
But if they're going to go, you made $100 more than what you're supposed to, so we're not going to
shut you off completely. Yeah.
It's like, whoa. I mean, we've got to, for little fish, small fry, there's got to be gray areas. There's got to be some flexibility to allow people to improve their lives, or to the point where maybe they can get off the system and start paying back in instead of taking out, which I have no problem with that.
Now, Mudball makes a really good point. He set up as an LLC as a disregarded entity, so I still pay like an individual.
Yeah.
So that may be different in your state, so look into that.
Yeah.
Yes, your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's hard to run a business, especially a small business. The best thing to do is get hold of the Small Business Administration, and they can. That's what they're there for.
Right. I don't even know if there is one of those in New York State anymore, to be honest.
There should be one everywhere. Every federal, because they're a federal entity. So every
Small Business
wherever
Administration.
you've got a federal building, they're part of the federal government, and they are there just to help you as a small business operator. And you'll be surprised what what they can help you do. Like set up a business plan, or if you're not wanting to go that big scale and you're just wanting to run an Etsy store, to make money.
That's exactly what I wanted to do to start.
Right.
To get the ball rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And then, kind of expand from there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well,
you got to start somewhere. And I got with what I have. So it's like, well, I have a really nice camera. I have 2 really nice drones. I get my pilot's license. I file the DBA.
Right.
And do what I can with what I have.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's it. Now, you can also check to see what your state regulations are dealing with Etsy stores, because sometimes these sort of contract positions, you don't pay the same as you would as if you were a brick and mortar store,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
well, I do belong to a group on Facebook for people who run local businesses. And one thing that people did say is that if you have actual physical inventory, you have to pay sales tax in New York. But the plan that I've researched and what I want to do, I will never have physical inventory. I will simply take in the orders, pass them on to somebody else who's gonna print out the photos and drop ship them for me.
Right.
And so then I don't believe I have to have sales tax for that.
Yeah.
And I think, but I mean, Etsy should collect sales tax on everything I do. And then I think, like eBay and stuff, they would pay that.
Yeah.
Right. And then they'd send you a 1040 at the end of the year.
Yep. Or 1099.
Or 1090 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. 1040 wasn't as 1090 is what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll send you the 1090, which is where, because
for
basically
independent contractor kind of thing.
Yeah. Because you're doing things like a contract. And this is just what little bit I've read. I've never other than when my son was running a business. But Don says it's hard to being a pimp.
Exactly. Yeah.
1099. Thank you.
As soon as you said Don had said something like that, no matter what Don had said, I was like, okay, how can I drag this into that comment? I know that's I know that I'm going to be given this opportunity, and he went there for me. So thank you very much, Don.
Yeah. Don went there himself because he knew probably one of us would come up with it.
Yeah.
Now though, I didn't mean to drag us this far afield on our discussion. I just wanted to talk about a couple things. One thing led to another about the government driving me crazy and taxes and yada yada.
Yeah.
Right.
So thank you very much for the discussion and for the floor time. What I would like to do is bring it back a little bit though to Kennedy, because he was Kennedy and Bernie Sanders, because they had an exchange where, and I don't know what was before this, but Bernie and Kennedy were talking about something. Bernie says, "Can you promise me blah, 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 blah?" And Kennedy starts off and said, well, corruption is not just with these federal agencies. It's with Congress itself, because all the Congress people take these huge donations from, like, I think they were talking about Big Pharma. And Bernie's like, no. We had $200 million, and most of it is from citizens. And at the end, Kennedy said it was like, $5 million got to Congress through these big agencies. And then Bernie goes, well, there was 200 million, so only 5 million out of 200 million. He tried to make the point that it wasn't a big deal. But what they were caught doing, what Act Blue was caught doing, is making multiple donations in somebody's name
Oh yeah,
who had never made donations. So you've got $195 million in donations, but I guarantee you there's way more than $5 million coming from the PACs and super PACs because they did it in this way. And they've people have found out, gone to this one woman and said, "Did you make all these donations?" She's like, "No, I don't have nearly that much money."
Right.
And I wonder, it's just, does Bobby Kennedy know this? How can he not know this? And how can he not, fire right back? If I mean, certainly if it was me and I had a feeling I was going to make a statement like that, I'd have had a stack of papers ready. I'd be like, "Oh, really? So what about this?" And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Bobby Kennedy he's a firebrand, and he's a renegade. But I heard today they were talking about, we've had they talk about a peaceful transition from one to the other. They were saying, usually a peaceful change of government. Well, that's the difference. That's what's going on right now. This time we are having under Trump 2.0, we're really having a real transition because he's trying to topple, he's trying to do what he intended to do the first time. He's starting to, and this is what's got him so scared, is that, he's starting to drain the swamp,
Right.
Yeah, take no prisoners.
Yeah. And that's why they're so absolutely terrified. And they don't have anything better right now.
Yep.
I think it was Harold, what's his on Fox News, the
Harold Ford.
Harold Ford, yeah. I don't know why I couldn't think of Ford. I was thinking of Harold Lloyd Wright, and I know that's not right.
No.
Yeah. Harold Ford, he said the problem we have is that we're still using the same old message. He says, I think the Democratic Party could come back if they realize they need to get out and be in touch with the common person.
Right.
They need to get out there and press the flesh. They need to get out there and talk to these people. And they need to listen to what they're telling them. It's not about, it's not about your idea as a congressman or a senator. It's about what are the people asking and what can we do to facilitate that? What is best served, not what best serves us, but best serves the country. And that's where, you can't argue with that argument,
Yeah.
And this is where the Democrats are, and they're just not getting it, I mean, it's sad when even AOC is starting to figure it out, Yeah, I'm thinking of Harold Lloyd. Yeah, Frank Lloyd Wright. There's Harold Lloyd, who is a silent movie actor, and then there's Frank Lloyd Wright, who was the architect.
And wasn't there another actor named Norman Lloyd?
There might have been, but I'm thinking of the guy from the silent movies.
To be 104.
Oh,
he did.
Yeah.
What was the name of that? Hitchcock movie that he was in?
No, this guy was way before Hitchcock. This guy was like Buster Keaton.
Okay. Harold Lloyd. Yeah.
Harold Lloyd was a contemporary of Chaplin. Yes.
Yeah.
He was from the Chaplin day. That's exactly who I was thinking of. I was getting Frank Lloyd Wright and Harold Lloyd mixed up, and I just said to hell with it and put them all in one.
Yeah.
And when he
Harold
didn't have anything.
Lloyd Mendenhall. Okay.
Yeah, no, my name's not Harold. No. But yeah, it's like, so my brain is old today. It's
squirrel. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it too. I haven't slept good in I've had doctor's appointments yesterday, and I had to go to the dentist today, and I don't sleep good when I have an appointment. So tomorrow I do have to go back into the dentist for tooth cleaning, but I said make it late in the day. So if I wake up, I can lay down and take naps during the day before I have to be there.
Right.
There's a Japanese space rock named Asteroid.
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 He made it funny.
Oh yeah, he did.
Uh,
My watch is telling me it's time for me to stand up now.
yeah, mine does that
Damn
too, but
smartwatches.
mine's being charged right now.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
really?
yeah, with Kennedy and Pocahontas, she was trying to get him to promise not to sue pharmaceuticals. Well, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not his job when he's the head of what, HUD? No, is he?
Health and Human Services.
Yeah, Health and Human HHS.
HUD is Housing and Urban Development.
Right. That's different department. And yeah, he couldn't sue pharmaceuticals while he was in office. I think she was trying to get him to say that he wasn't going to sue them after he left office.
She also wanted to make sure that he wouldn't use Health and Human Services to file, like the FAA filing against an airline penalties.
Right.
I think that's what she was referring to as suing them.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, they didn't get wealthy by making people healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I really
truth.
honestly think that if they really wanted to, they could probably have the cure for cancer now if they chose to. But cancer treatment makes so much money,
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Speaking of, did you guys hear Stargate? You must have heard about Stargate. Oh, wow. Or maybe I mentioned this already. Okay. Trump has gotten together with a consortium of people. One of them is one of his backers that is the CEO or something of Oracle, some Japanese guy, and I'm sorry, I don't remember his name or his company, and then some other company. And they are across the country, they are going to build 5 million square feet of AI. They're starting with a 500,000 square foot facility in Texas, and they're going to build 10 other ones. And what they want to do is they want to have everybody's medical records in these places so that one doctor, one place can access your records in another place. So if you're vacationing in Florida and something happens to you,
right,
they can access your medical records. But the other thing that they want to do, they say that they want to use this AI stuff to generate custom mRNA vaccines for specific cancers.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
that's about as dangerous as you can get, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard that, but I didn't know what they'd called it, Stargate. I didn't know that, and I didn't hear the details. Just that they were going to do something about investing. They had in Oracle.
AI,
I did hear, in the AI, but I didn't hear the particulars about it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with that many square feet of computing power, I think it's going to be a lot more than what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's Newsweek, NTSB confirmed Newsweek that both black boxes have been recovered. Okay, so they've
okay.
All right. So yeah, I was watching I think it was Johnny and Captain Ray's show last night. No, it wasn't either. It was Bill Thomas's show last night, in which Captain Joe America announced that, put up in the chat about the crash. So I started listening to it afterwards, but yeah.
Right.
Oh, well, thanks for that information. So
yeah. Thanks, Brian. What else? Any other hot topic going on? No.
There's something else I was going to talk about, but I can't remember what it was.
The only other thing that I can think of that apparently New York Magazine printed an article called "The Cruel Kids Table."
Basically, yes, I heard about that. Yeah,
Yep.
It was about one of the balls and they cropped all the photos out.
Yeah, to crop out all the black people so they could say it was all racist. And they're saying all these wonderful things about these people, about how they're attractive and they work out and this, that, and the other thing, but make it sound like that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the thing is the party, the host of the party, the guy that was throwing the party was a black man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were. And and this is the game of the liberals, and they have not learned. They haven't learned their lesson. And the thing is now people don't believe. 8 or 9 years ago, 10 years ago, yeah, they would have believed this was possible. But now,
well, maybe we should stop complaining about them not learning their lesson and just let them.
Yeah, just let them keep doing the same thing. Yeah, because whatever they do right now is good for us as conservatives, and good for the American people. Because as long as they're screwed up, and as long as the American people, well, first, the conservatives need to deliver on their promises.
Mm-hmm.
Second, and I think it's great everything that Trump's doing. I mean, he's signing these orders left and right and doing press conferences. But I think the most important thing he's done in this last week and a half, going on 2 weeks now, is that he's been president. He signed his first law as Trump 2.0, and that was the Lincoln-Riley Act.
Okay.
Signed it into law. And he needs to sign more laws. In other words, he needs to get the House and the Senate need to get busy and start let's start getting some laws on the books while we've got while we've got control of things. Because if they don't deliver, I mean, because once Trump's out of office, if another president, say another Democrat's elected, just put a pencil line, and it's all gone. So we need to have those. Yeah, Lake and Riley, not Lake. I know.
Both Colorado senators voted against it.
Of course.
Also, one thing I wanted to talk about before
for correcting me, though,
that we go is the new press secretary, and she's hot. I mean, she's good looking. She's on the ball, and
she's a firecracker.
They've changed the protocol for the press. They've expanded it to include influencers and other people, out in social media. So I'm like going, that's a good idea. That way, that'll keep the the legacy media on their toes, where they'll have to say, gee, we might have to do some real journalism.
Yeah, and there's a section over there where her staff would normally, or where the staff of the press secretary usually sat.
Mm-hmm.
That will no longer be for the staff.
That
will be for the podcasters, the
influencers,
the non-traditional press.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's good that they're doing that, And there was one guy when this first popped up. There's a guy, and he was a former RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, a Mountie, and he has a show, and he's a conservative. He's Canadian, but he's a conservative, and
Right.
he actually filled out the form to become one of the people he put in his name, and they'll go through and look at these people and pick out who's going to represent, that particular area of
Oh,
but he did it on live show, and he's typing out and put his name in and all that stuff, and
mm.
he
I'll
says,
look in to see if we could get on that.
I doubt it. We don't have enough clout.
Hey, it never hurts if you don't.
Well, yeah, but there's younger people that have a lot more.
Hey, we're the three conservative gimps.
Yeah,
We
well,
just
that's
hear
it.
the
Yeah, maybe
voice.
they might do it simply because. Okay, what do 3 gimps look like?
Yeah, there you go. Mhm.
But
Huh.
actually, which one of you guys want to fly to
Yeah,
Washington?
there you go.
Washington, to do the press. I don't want to go there.
Charles is closer.
Yeah, yeah. 7,400 people applied as of yesterday. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's there's snowball's chance in Hades would ever get on there. And I personally, I don't want to go to Washington just to ask them questions. It's far easier for me to listen to their answers.
Right. Mm-hmm.
On the, on the internet or on television or whatever. So, yeah.
Right. Well, folks, we've managed to do an hour, and I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming. Please tell everybody about this show. Let's try to grow this channel. I know it's we've been working a lot, and we're all tired. Let's get this ball rolling. I know the election is over, blah blah blah, but let's keep this.
Another one in 2 years.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, we have to keep up the pace. We can't.
That's right.
Relax now.
Yeah, that's it.
That's right.
We got to keep this movement moving. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the preachers that I listen to on Sunday morning has said, outright, because a lot of us who are Christians have realized this was, we called out to God and said, can you help me? And God showed us mercy by giving us this opportunity. So now as a nation, we have to have a change of heart.
Yeah, we do.
Period. And as a nation, we have to have a change of heart. Yeah. So we can't be cruel. We can't be like the left. We can't be cruel. We can't be trying to cancel people.
Right.
We've got to try and, help people.
Right.
Unify
the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's people I've people that I know that they post stuff on social media, and I'm going,
yeah,
okay, well, that's good. And I just won't engage them because what they're saying is they're so entrenched in their beliefs that rather than, disenfranchise him or lose him as an acquaintance,
right.
The most I'll say is, oh, bless your heart. But I just won't engage him because I like him for other reasons. If this is the only flaw that I see in them, well, I can look past that because it does not behoove me to go after them. It's putting me down on into that level. I mean, it's sad, there's people you see that you think, man, they're a great person if they just didn't think this way. But that's what this country's about. If we all thought the same way, it would be boring.
That's right. So let's say good night to everybody in the chat. You all have a great week. Don't forget tomorrow night, Art Code Drones and Entertainment. Check out that show. We got some more stuff to talk about. Take care and God bless. Good night,